Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be telling you guys the story of my crazy neighbors. I'm still kind of going through it right now, but I think it's kind of coming to a close. I've been going through it for the past 3 years and it has been absolutely a nightmare. And I literally had to take notes because of all the different situations that have happened and stuff. And even with taking notes, I'm not going to be able to share everything because it's been 3 years. And there's just so much stuff, but I'm going to hit mainly like the key points and stuff of what I've been having to go through. And definitely stick around because I'm going to start off with like the not so bad things and then get to the worst things. And I definitely feel like if I could help anybody with this story, then that's why I'm putting it out there, because I know going through this, I've researched it and looked up other people that are going through it to try to see how they handled it, and if I can help anybody, then this video is worth making. Okay, so I'm gonna basically start from the beginning, and like I said, I took notes and stuff. Basically it started 3 years ago when I moved into this apartment complex, and I specifically wanted like the 3rd floor because I cannot stand to hear noise above me. Like, I don't know how people do it on the below floors. Like, I cannot stand to hear people walking around all the time and making a bunch of noise and stuff. So I specifically wanted the 3rd floor, and for the first couple, like 2 weeks, I loved it. I mean, it was so quiet, and I was moving all my furniture in, getting everything situated, and then about 2 weeks in, I noticed that I had a neighbor move in right next door to me. And the first day I saw them out my window, and they had 3 kids, and it was like a husband and a wife, and they had 3 kids, and 2 of the kids were close to my kid's age, and then the other one was a baby. And so I was like super excited because I'm like, oh my gosh, like my kids are gonna have friends that they can hang out and play with, and that's so cool to have them like live right next door. And I was like super excited. So like a couple days later, when I was going down the staircase, I passed the mom that lived next door, and I was like, hi, how are you? And she just gave me like the dirtiest look. She just looked at me like, and then like kept walking, and I was like in my head thinking, okay, maybe she's just having like a bad day. That's super rude of her, but like, okay, I'll just give her the benefit of the doubt, you know? I kind of was like hoping that maybe she didn't hear me, and like, I don't know, I just coming up with like excuses in my head for why she could have given me that look. And so a couple days later, the same thing, I saw her walking, and I was like, hi, and again, she just gave me the same mean look, and I was like, okay, no, that's not a coincidence. Like, this girl does not like me. And I didn't understand why, because I had never met her before. Like, I was just trying to be friendly and say hi, and it's like immediately as they moved in, they already had like a chip on their shoulder. Like, they did not want to be friends with anybody. And from there, like, it just kept getting worse. After the couple incidents of me like saying hi and them just straight up ignoring me and her giving me dirty looks, I started realizing like that these are not like normal people. They're not super friendly, and they're very secluded. Their kids never played outside. They keep their kids basically held up inside their apartment. Like, basically just, I feel so bad for the kids because I never have seen them play outside. I've never seen them really out of the apartment other than when they go to and home from school and stuff. And basically, one day I was playing with my kids out like on the sidewalk and stuff, and I was looking up and I realized that they have video cameras in every single one of their windows. Like, literally, they have probably about 7 or 8 windows around, because they have a side unit of the apartment, and so all around and every single one of the windows they had video cameras. And that kind of alarmed me because like 1 or 2 cameras is like one thing, but they had cameras in every single one of the windows, and it was like aiming out at different places around the street and stuff. And I was just like, why do they have so many cameras? Like, it was super creepy, and I was kind of alarmed by that. So one night I had put the kids to bed, and I went into the bathroom, and I like used the restroom, flushed the toilet, and then I was getting something out of the cabinet, and when I like got something out of the cabinet, the door kind of slipped by my finger and closed, kind of like, not loudly, because I mean it was just like a dun 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 dun, and literally the dude next door just started slamming stuff. Like, he was slamming stuff in his apartment, and he was like, shut the F up, and started like screaming, going ballistic. And I remember just sitting there going like, what the hell? Like, that was the first time that my heart was like beating fast. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this dude has like major anger issues. And it started to make me like really on edge. I was confused. I was like, what the heck is he talking about? Like, literally the cabinet door shuts and he just goes ballistic, and it started freaking me out. So obviously the next day I went to the front office and I talked to them about it. I was like, look, like, this is really strange. Like, you know, the lady's been really rude to me. The dude went ballistic last night when my cabinet door shut. Like, they have cameras in all their windows. Like, what is up with these guys? And they basically, the front office was telling me, yes, like, they actually have issues with several people. They complain about several people, and several people complain about them. And basically the front office was telling me that the video cameras, the crazy neighbors send video footage to the front office numerous times, like 20, 30 times a day, of like footage from their cameras and stuff. And basically, like, I guess the dude just sits up there looking at his cameras, trying to find like things going wrong. Like, one time, I guess there was like a guy that got out of his car and like was scratching his crotch or something, and so they sent them the footage of that and tried to say that he was like touching himself in public, and like, it was just ridiculous. Like, they're literally, he thought he was alone, just like giving himself a little scratch, and then they're sending video footage of it to the front office, trying to make it into something that it totally was not. And like, it was just super sketchy stuff like that. So they did tell me that, you know, the video footage is excessive. They send them excessive amounts of footage every single day, and just to try to avoid the cameras if I felt uncomfortable being on them, which of course I do, because I am a single mom. I don't want these crazy neighbors knowing my routine, knowing when I come and go, and just like what car I drive and stuff. Like, it was super alarming and creepy. And to find out that other neighbors had issues with them as well. Apparently the lady underneath them has like a ton of issues with them. They purposely stomp, they purposely like make excessive noise because they don't like her. They called the cops on her. And they basically, she was out standing on the staircase talking to some friends, and they said she looked suspicious, and they called the cops on her. And I mean, it was just ridiculous. They're those kind of people. And so after that, I definitely was like, okay, so I'm not dealing with normal people at all. Like, these are some like super, you know, over the top crazy people. And it just gets worse. It just got worse from there. So after I complained about their noise and stuff, like when he went ballistic after I closed the cabinet and stuff, I don't know if they got a citation or what, but after that, it was a couple days later, I was taking my kids to school. It was like super early in the morning, like 7:30. It's not super early, but it was like 7:30. That's early for me. And basically we were walking out of our door, me and my kids, and my kids were like, Mom, and I look up, and the dude has his front door like cracked open, and he's just standing behind it, like looking at us like that. And I was like, what the heck? And it made me freaked out enough that I told my kids, I was like, hey, let's go back inside. So like, as soon as we came outside, we saw that, and then we backed right back into the door, and we closed the door, and then we were looking out our kitchen window to kind of see, like, did he go back inside? Like, what is he doing? He stood there for 10 minutes with his door cracked and him just standing there staring towards my door. And I was like, felt super uncomfortable. I was thinking about calling the cops because it was alarming. I was like, what does he plan on doing? Is he gonna like shoot us when we walk out of our door? Like, it was super creepy. So eventually, after probably about 10 minutes, he did close his door, and I was able to like quickly take my kids out, and we went downstairs, and I took them to school, and I went by the front office again and told them that like I didn't feel comfortable. Like, you know, he made me very uncomfortable. And basically all they said was like, okay, like, write your complaint and we'll give it to the corporate office and stuff, which I did, and then I never heard back again. So then there was another incident where I remember it was like 2 a.m. and I woke up out of like a dead sleep, and I just hear techno music like blaring, and I heard like boom, boom, boom. And so I like get up, and I figured out that it was coming from the wall behind me, which is coming from, let's call the crazy neighbor Jake. We'll call him Jake. It was coming from Jake's apartment, and he was blaring like super loud. Like, my apartment was like shaking. It was crazy. Techno music. He was blaring techno music. And I remember like wondering, he has 3 very small kids, and I'm like, what are these kids thinking right now? Like, I can't even imagine having a parent blaring techno music on a school night as your kid's trying to sleep. Like, I can't even imagine, which is a whole nother thing. After quarantine started and stuff, I realized that he keeps his kids up like all night, and then they sleep during the day. And like around 12 o'clock, I would get up to go pee, and I would literally hear like the kids playing and stuff. During the day it's like dead silent, and then like I said, overnight the kids are playing, running, laughing, screaming, talking, and I'm just like, what the heck? And then like there was another time that I woke up at 3 a.m. and he was teaching his kids school at 3 a.m. Like I literally heard him. I was in my bathroom and I heard him going through schoolwork with his kid at 3 a.m. And I remember thinking like, who does that? Like, it was super weird. I emailed the front office because I'm like, that just is not right. Like, these people are just so weird. And it reminds me of like this case that I saw in the news about like that family that had like 18 or 17 kids or whatever, and they kept them locked up, and like one of the little girl, like the 17-year-old girl, like escaped and had like a burner phone and was able to call cops, and they came and rescued them. I forgot what the family's called, but like it just reminds me of like that family, like how because with that family they would keep them up like all night, and they would make them like do laps up and down like their house, and then they would sleep all day, and that's kind of the routine these people have. Like, it's just super sketchy, super weird. Like, who teaches their kid at 3 in the morning? Like, I feel so horrible for those kids, but I don't know what to do. And then, like, at another time, I heard the guy, like, screaming at his kids, basically saying, like, really horrible stuff. Like, I don't even want to repeat. And I did contact the front office, and I was like, look, like, this is not right. Like, I feel like something's going on over there. Like, I don't know what to do. And she's, like, told me that basically if I felt like something was going on, I need to contact authorities. But, like, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable doing that. Like, I don't know. I don't want to put myself in a situation that could put me and my kids in danger. And I felt like if I got involved with that, that could put us in danger. So I didn't contact authorities, but like, I don't know what to do. I just gave the front office my information of what I know from over there, and they can do what they want to do. But basically, I mean, it's just one thing after another. There was another situation when my grandma was in the hospital dying, and I came home. I had been at the hospital like all day for the past like a week and a half. Every single day I had been at the hospital. I come home and I needed to clean up my apartment, so I start vacuuming, and my vacuum like hit the baseboard like the tiniest amount. And I remember he like went ballistic and started like slamming against the wall. He punched the wall so hard I heard like literally crumbling, as if he like punched a hole through his side of the wall. And again, I told the front office and didn't really hear anything back. She basically told me just continue telling her anytime things like this happen. And I mean, there's just so many situations like that and stuff. But I mean, I would say the worst situation was what happened a few months ago, which was when me and my kids were playing up and down the breezeway, and my kids were riding their scooters. They weren't even like yelling or talking or anything. They were just riding back and forth, like just to get some outside air. It was 6 p.m. It was super nice outside. And the lady comes out and she's like, can you and your kids please go inside? Their scooters are being so loud. And I remember just looking over and being like, what? I was like, what? And she's like, those scooters, they're so loud. They need to go inside. It's 6 p.m. and my kids are trying to sleep. And I remember looking at her and being like, it's 6 p.m. My kids are not going to go inside. Like, they're outside riding their scooters. Like, it's one thing if it's like 9 or 10 at night, but it was literally 6 p.m. at night. Like, come on. Like, I'm sorry her kids are trying to sleep, but my kids are trying to play like normal kids. And I remember telling her, like, no, we're not going to go inside. My kids are playing. And she's just like, I work for the police department. I would not mess with me. And I'm just like, okay, like, I don't care who you work for. My kids are going to do, like, what normal kids do and play outside. And basically, I told her, I was like, everyone thinks y'all are weird. Like, or like, literally, people think y'all are crazy. Like, nobody likes y'all. Get out of everyone's business. Like, your husband literally is psycho. And I just kind of went off on her because it had been 3 years of me just building up all this resentment towards them and all this anger because of how crazy and rude and harassing they've been. And basically, I kind of like slightly went off on her, not in a mean way, but just told her, like, I don't give a F who you work for. Like, leave me and my family alone. And she started going off on me, and eventually I told my kids, I was like, let's go inside, because I didn't want to deal with it. And after we went inside, my heart was like pounding, and I knew that they were going to contact the front office because they literally kept coming up with lies. I forgot to mention this. They were coming up with lies about me and several other neighbors, and they were emailing the front office like 15 times a day saying, like, at 3:02 in the afternoon, we heard Tiffany's washing machine going, and it was super loud. Like, or they said, like, lies like that and stupid stuff like that, and as if they could actually hear my washing machine. Like, that's ridiculous. And also, they came up with a lie. Well, this was after the whole situation that I'm telling you about right now. So let me backtrack. So basically, I knew that they were going to tell the front office about the situation that had occurred while we were outside. And so I figured, you know what, I'm going to talk to the front office about it as well. I sent them an email, and I also contacted the police department because she basically told me that I shouldn't mess with her because she works for the police department. And so I contacted them to see if she actually worked there, and I actually found out that she was a civilian worker. So basically, she's like a volunteer almost, or she does clerical work. She's not an officer or anything. And they actually took it really seriously. And they were like, yeah, we don't want people working for us that are going to be threatening other people, saying that they work for us, and that, you know, basically they don't want people like that working there. So they took it very seriously, and they started a internal affairs investigation on her. And probably like 2 months later, I got a letter in the mail saying that they took care of the situation. So I don't know if she still works there or not. They wouldn't tell me any details, but they said that they took care of the situation and that they were closing the case. And the day after that situation happened, I did go to the front office, and the front office said that they had already contacted Jake, the crazy neighbor, had already contacted corporate about the situation I had with his wife. And I told her my side of things, and basically the front office just took note of it, and they actually gave her a cease and desist letter so that she can no longer contact me. But to be fair as well, they gave me as one as well. So we basically both could not contact each other. Like, we cannot talk to each other, we cannot look at each other, like nothing. And I'm okay with that because I don't want her coming up to me and my kids ever again. I don't want to be bothered by her. And after that situation, basically I noticed that they were just way more creepy. Like, anytime I would walk by, they would like shuttle their kids and be like, hurry, hurry, hurry. Like, they would just do weird stuff like that and make me uncomfortable. And I started parking on like a whole different side of the parking lot so that I would avoid their cameras and avoid them, and like basically just not come around them at all. But after talking to the front office about just everything in total, like I kept asking them, like, are they going to be evicted? Like, what is going on? Why are they still here? And they were like in the process of figuring out what they wanted to do with these neighbors, because so many people had issues with them and stuff when quarantine happened. And basically, these neighbors had so many issues with so many people, and they were coming up with lies about like all the neighbors. And then they started even coming up with lies about the front office. They started telling corporate that the front office was out to get them. They basically, that's what they would say about everybody, is that everybody was out to get them. And so then they started saying to corporate that the front office was out to get them, that they're sending them so many complaints and violations, and that it's not fair. So basically they told the front office that they only wanted to have communication with corporate. And lo and behold, within like 2 or 3 weeks of them only having communication with corporate, they got into a fight with corporate as well. So corporate has had a fight with them. All their neighbors have had a fight with them. The front office has had a fight with them. So like at this point, the front office is done, corporate's done, and they want them out. But the thing with that is because COVID happened, all the courts are closed. So even the way my front office told me is that they could basically like literally get away with murder right now. They could kill somebody and still not get kicked out because all the front offices are closed. Obviously, if they got caught, they would go to jail. But basically, they could get away with a lot and not get kicked out right now because all the courthouses are closed. And it was super annoying because I'm so done with living next door to these psychos. Like, I literally had to buy a gun because I was so scared about what they were going to do after that confrontation I had with Jake's wife. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I need protection. I'm here alone with my kids. Like, I need protection. I had to literally go out. My boss helped me find the right gun, and I bought a gun. He took me to the shooting range so we could practice shooting, and I'm prepared, like, if anything were to happen, like, because that's how scared I was from these people and how erratic. Like, I'm just telling y'all a piece of everything I've been through for the past 3 years. There's so many things that I'm sure I'm forgetting, and so many things that I can't add in because there's just so many things. This video would be so freaking long. But I'm just definitely at the point where I want them gone. And my front office, even, they told me, like, if you want to leave the apartment, you can get out of your lease, because we are afraid for you as well, because these people clearly are not right. And they also told the crazy neighbors that they can get out of their lease. They can leave at any moment. They can leave but they're not leaving, and I don't have the money right now to leave, so I'm kind of stuck here too. And it just really sucks because obviously if I could, I would move out of here immediately. I don't feel safe next to these people. No, none of our neighbors feel safe next to them. The front office, I think the courts are opening back up and they are proceeding with getting them evicted at this point, and that definitely makes me feel better, as well as their lease is up in 3 months and they are not allowed to renew their lease. So at least minimum, or I guess maximum, they'll be here is 3 more months. But the front office is doing all they can, I'm sure. But I mean, it's still because I've been next to them for 3 years and it's just way too long. I'm ready for them to be gone and I'm ready to have peace. And I would love for a family to move next door to us that has kids and would like love to play with my kids and just like have cool neighbors. And I feel like that's so rare to find these days. People are so like stuck in their own little lives that it's hard to find like outgoing neighbors these days. But like I really am hoping and praying that we find some good neighbors after this, and I just hope that nothing happens to me because I definitely am kind of afraid. The guy's really off his rocker, but you know, I have protection now, so I feel a lot safer. But anyways, this is just like a small fraction of everything I've been through, but I wanted to share with you guys, and if this can help anybody in any way, or at least comfort other people that are going through this, because I know me going through this, watching other people that are going through this, in a weird way kind of comforts me. It makes me feel like, okay, I'm not the only one, but if this can help anyone, great. And leave your comments below, and leave comments if you have any suggestions of what I should do or how I should go about this situation. That would be awesome. And thanks for watching. Bye.